Thanks for tuning in. I think it's what everybody wants to see, but today's going to be an E30 video. I'm still working on the ITBs. You can see I have most of the throttle bodies assembled and on the car, but there's a few kind of hiccups that I've hit along the way, running new vacuum lines and figuring out some coolant lines. In addition to that, I'm going to be adding in a universal catch can. The stock E30 has a breather hose that comes out of the top of the valve cover. I think it's to relieve some of the pressure in the crankcase and just vent out a little bit right there. And that normally recircs back to the stock throttle body. But now that we no longer have that, there's no place for that to be recirced back into the throttle body. So I'm going to run just a new hose out to the corner of the car where the battery box could be in the front of the engine if you have one of those models. My battery's in the trunk. But I'll add the catch can into that area just because right now it's just useless space. Shouldn't be too hard of a job. Like I said, I got a universal catch can. There are one or two E30 modeled catch cans, but they're several $100s. So I just went on Amazon and found a decent one for $20, $30, and then get the hose. So it shouldn't be too expensive of a job, but it'll get us one step closer to having the car running and fully functioning on the ITB set. The catch can is a pretty basic design. It has an inlet and an outlet with a baffle going from the inside into the catch can, so it's just a hollow can at that point after the baffle. I could put a filter on the outlet, but right now I'm just going to have it open because I don't have a filter, but I can always add that in at a later time. And then for the hosing, I just got 3/4 inch inner diameter hosing. I'll run it straight from the valve cover back to the firewall and around to the battery box and the inlet of our catch can. I don't have my hose cut to size yet. I just bought a 6-foot section of it. It's way more than I ever need. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it onto where it attaches to the valve cover, and then I'll try to route it probably below all of my harnesses, and I can always zip tie those all together to keep them nice and tidy, and then it'll pass underneath of the harness wires into the battery box area. Just got the hose clamp off the original hose, and we'll tighten this down on here. Next up, I'll be routing this over the back of the valve cover under the harness and into the battery box area. At this point, before I cut the hose to the right size, I'm going to go ahead and use the good tool of cardboard to figure out kind of a mounting bracket that I'm going to have to build. Basically, I want to figure out where it's going to mount first, and then cut the hose once, just so I don't cut it too long or cut it too short and have to recut it or get another new section to fit better. So like I said, yeah, I'm gonna fit this in my cardboard. I cut this to 1 inch thickness just because that's how the mounting bolts on the catch can line up. And then my idea is to then run this as at a 90-degree angle off of the catch can, and then probably drill a hole through the hood hinge brackets. There's enough material there that I think putting a small hole in it should be okay. And then basically once this is bent 90 at the right length, drill a hole, and then that's what's going to line up to the hood hinge. And I have a few already pre-bent pieces of metal that I picked up at the store. I don't know if they're going to be the right length. And I also have a blank sheet that I can cut to size, hopefully. So at this point, I just put 2 layers of cardboard underneath. I don't think I would want this metal piece resting in there. I don't know what kind of vibrations that might cause. So I'm just going to have it basically spaced out a little bit so that it's kind of hanging right there, but right now that's kind of my spacer. I have my cardboard cut out, and I drew a line for where I want to have the bend, and then I drew another line where I'll cut it off. With the spacer, it doesn't leave me too much room to kind of fit that gap, but we'll get it in there and it'll kind of look something like that. I can scoot this in and out as I need to kind of better fit it, and there are 2 kind of mounting pairs at the top, so if it ends up being too short, I can always move it to the other mounting bracket, and it should work out. At this point, I'm just getting ready to tighten on the bracket. Sorry I didn't show you guys the process of me making it. It was a bit of a struggle with some of the lack of equipment or resources I have for making things like this. Is it the best? Not really. Did I have fun making it? Definitely. So it's a version 1. Maybe down the road with better equipment, I can try to make a better one. At this point, I just have to go ahead and attach the catch can to my little bracket. The holes I made for the bracket are spaced a little too close. It'll still give me enough room to line up the bolts that came with the catch can. But you know, like they say, measured twice, still cut wrong. And just like that, the catch can's in. It's got a little flop to it. Probably maybe needed sturdier bracket metal or something a little thicker. I think it'll do for now. I think once I cut the hosing to the right size, maybe that'll create some tension on the other side to stop around some of the flopping that it's doing. Well, there you have it. The catch can's installed. Making the bracket was a lot of fun. I think I would like to do some more of that fabrication type things. Clearly not very good at it. Haven't really done anything in that realm, but it would be something I'd like to get into. Luckily, I'm sure this car and some other projects coming up are going to have a lot of need for that. At this point, the ITBs should be very close. I just need to add some coolant, fix one line that's going to run to the brake booster, and then figure out the line that's going to run to the idle control valve. And at that point, it should be back to getting the ITBs started, synchronizing them, and then working through the tune and figuring out how to get the wideband to read better in the system. But it's very close. Hopefully, in the next couple weeks, I can actually have this car out on the road and driving around again. Thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe if you can. It would be nice to see that support as these next few videos come out to wrap up the ITB job for now. I'm sure there will be more coming up after that, but get it running, driving, and then having some fun at autocross with it are kind of the next short-term goals for the car.